Okay, so can solar lighting catch on fire? First of all, let me just read the snippet blurb from my website just to give you the straightforward answer. So, since solar powered lights get their energy from small solar panels that charge batteries, they do pose a low fire risk. Solar lights with lithium ion batteries run the highest chance of catching fire, mainly due to highly reactive materials and lithium salts used in their construction. Okay, so that's like the dictionary, encyclopedia. Uh, Example or explanation of this, but let's dive a little more into that. So, can solar lighting get hot and catch on fire? Well, it depends on the types of bulbs that your lighting uses and the types of batteries. So, in a few articles that I read when I did a Google search on solar lighting and fire, I did find a few from a few years ago that had to do with solar lighting catching on fire, but they all seem to have something in common, which was that the batteries were overheating and melting the casing of the lights, which in turn would melt the siding or the roofing that they might have been attached to. And that could sometimes lead to singeing. And if there were dry grasses or dry branches in the area, then that could have ended up becoming combustible. But it seemed like it was mostly batteries overheating, melting the casing, and then melting vinyl siding of homes. So it's worth noting that there were some recalls from 2018 from a company called Cooper Lighting, All Pro, and Defiant. But the most recent recall I found was one related to Canada back in July of 2019 in regards to a company called Fusion 3 and One Solar powered tiki torches. But again, this recall was the batteries overheating and not the lights themselves. So it seems like that's really the crux of this, is it's not the lights that are catching on fire, it's the batteries that are used. So what are the most popular batteries that are used in solar lighting? Well, nickel cadmium, this is least popular now because it's pretty old technology and it's gradually being phased out. Then there's nickel metal hydride or NIM batteries. This technology, this is what replaced the nickel cadmium batteries over the last several years. They last 40% longer than the nickel batteries, but they don't have the temperature endurance. So these batteries still suffer from what's called memory effect. Basically, what memory effect is as you recharge rechargeable batteries over time, they lose a little bit of their charge capacity. So they go from 100% to 99 to 98. This is called memory loss in batteries. So the new player in the battery tech field is lithium ion or Li-ion batteries. They're more powerful than the other two, and they really don't show that memory loss effect. Their main downside is that they're made with materials such as lithium salts and non-dense metals, which does make them a little more volatile. A few years ago, if you remember articles about cell phones and I believe some laptop batteries catching on fire in planes, well, lithium ion was the culprit there. So these are probably any fire related issues, these are going to be the culprit. So what can you do to kind of mitigate this is don't cheap out on solar powered lighting. So I'm a DIYer. I love building stuff. I love putting stuff together, which is partially why I like doing this website, because I love researching solar power and I love solar gear and gadgets. It's kind of my thing right now. So that's why I'm passing this info on to you. But so many DIYers think that since solar lighting is outside, they shouldn't really spend the money that they would normally spend on if they're putting something in their home. It's like buying a super cheap thrift store table that's going to be outside because you don't care if it gets rained on versus the really nice oak dining set that's going to be inside and become an heirloom. But cheap lighting means cheap materials and cheap labor. So solar lighting that uses lithium ion batteries have safety controllers built in to help regulate the amount of charge that's generated so that the batteries don't overload. But cheaper products really skimp on those safety controls or just outright ignore them. If they do catch on fire, here's how you put them out. Every dedicated homeowner should have fire extinguishers stashed everywhere. So definitely have one outside. That's like practically a must in my opinion. So ABC fire extinguishers are going to be the most common household fire extinguisher. You can pick them up at Home Depot, Lowe's. I think Walmart probably even sells them. Target, in basically any home goods store you can get them. Or in a panic, you forget where it is, then grab the water hose. You should have some sort of spigot outside anyways. And if you live in a particular windy area like Dallas is today, sorry if you hear those wind chimes behind me, it's a little windy today. You don't want dry grass catching a spark, and that's how you end up with California and Colorado situations where everything's on fire. Okay, so another thing you can do to prevent fires or other hazards from solar lights is I am a big advocate of doing preventative maintenance, PMs. Do safety walks. Back when I was working on a military base, we would always do safety walks of the range, just looking for stuff, using our eyes, our ears, and our noses to see, smell, or hear anything that could be wrong. So do that to your house too. Whenever you do a home inspection, just walk your yard, check the lights out, look for any frayed wires, look for any melting plastic. If it looks like it's melting, give it a little sniff. If it smells burned, it probably is burned. And if that's the case, unhook it, replace it. Don't take chances with it, especially when, since outdoor lighting, it's living outside. You might not go out every weekend. It might be weeks before you're out there. Things could be escalating and building up. Or if you're on vacation for a week and something happens, you don't want to come back to devastation and disaster, that's for sure. Keep any grass clippings, dried leaves raked up and away from your solar lighting. If you see them building up, especially if you have the ones that embed into the ground like garden or path lighting, keep those clear. Make sure there's nothing directly around them or touching them. So most fires, they're not caused by the solar lights. Remember, they're caused by the batteries, so keep stuff away from those batteries. But anyways, that's just some quick tips and that I wanted to pass on about solar lighting catching on fire. The risk of it is incredibly low, but anytime there's a risk, I feel like I should pass that information on so that everybody can do their own due diligence and be mindful of it. So anyways, for more information like this or more in-depth on this article, I'll put a link below to solargearguide.com, and we will see you on the next one.